Okay. Hello. Thank you for coming out for the basketball parent and coach meeting. We're going to start things off, jump around a little bit. It's basically an brief information to get you set for the season. Plus we have a couple special guests. Then we can talk, middle school basketball and the expectations that coaches and parents and players might be important for us to hear from some experts. So we brought some experts in. Tom Kleinschmidt is here, John McGinty, coaches. That might be an issue.
Turn that one off and use one of these.
All right.
Testing.
Testing.
Yeah, we're good.
You want to use this one?
Hey, this is a great example for the kinds of things that we want to teach our players that, in the middle of a game, it's not going to go according to plan. And you're going to have to switch, gears quickly, deal with adversity quickly. It's as simple as that. Okay, so again, thank you for coming. I know it's hard, especially on a Tuesday night. I want to give you just make a couple general comments about what you can expect. I would say that sports at FXW, what we try to do, can be summed up in one sentence. Have fun and learn something along the way. We do not, at any time, remove ourselves from the kind of learning experience that should take place in sports. We set expectations on, not only behavior, but how our sports participants, should approach the game, while always ensuring that they have fun. Some of the things that are most important, beyond the specific skills that they'll learn playing basketball or whatever sport here at FXW, right here. This is something that all of our coaches at every level, no matter what the skill level of the basketball player might be, these things are probably the most important. How do you conduct yourself at practice and in games? Can you communicate? Communication is so important, I guess, in every sport, but especially since we're talking about basketball, and basketball happens to be, communication is primary. The ability to see and talk with your teammates on both sides of the floor, offense, it's never talked enough about, and defense. And then the ability to communicate effectively with your teammates and your coach. So we kind of model that kind of behavior at practice. We want to set the tone as to what we expect from our players by modeling that kind of serious, yet, we're getting after it and having fun. We communicate, we work as a team of coaches, and the players can see that. And one of the most important things in any sport, you could ask football coach and baseball coaches, is this idea of active listening. When the coach is speaking, the eyes are on the coach. Any coach sees someone laser-eyed focused on their instructions. That's probably the most important thing. The ability to focus and then execute. And that's our next point. Finally, being a good teammate. We want to teach them how to be a good teammate. They don't always know. That's something that's learned. And we try to model that by being good teammates as a staff, developing good relationships with our players, always modeling what we expect. Let me get into less general comments and more about what's going on. So I'll talk about grades 4 through 6, you know that we will have multiple teams on just about every level, boys and girls. There's only one girls' 6th grade team, but 5th grade girls are 3. 6th grade boys, 3. So there are multiple teams at each level. These teams will be made during that special week, the 23rd through the 27th, so next week. And these teams will be balanced. What we do is we do not stack a team. We go about this, with some integrity. This is a very important week for coaches. We take it very seriously. Eric, one of our coaches that we'll introduce, he's filming tonight. He will film the evaluations. When he's here, he's always filming practices. The evaluations are really important because it's really important for kids. They're serious. We're serious about it. We want good, balanced teams. I think if you're a parent of a 7th grader, you might have experienced last year, our 3 6th grade boys teams made it, 3 teams made it to the Final Four. There were 3 balanced teams. Matter of fact, the only losses that they suffered during the season was against other FXW teams. We were like 33-2 or something like that, right? And I point that out, but I don't want to lose the point that it's all about getting those championships and all that. I think it's a testament of the abilities of the players and the coaches that with 3 balanced teams, we were able to succeed, right? It gets a little bit different in the 7th and 8th grade. 7th and 8th grade, we do an evaluation, a couple evaluation practices, and we make teams based on ability, skills, experience, right? So we will have a varsity team at both 7th and 8th grade boys and girls, and we will have a JV team at 7th, and we'll have multiple JV teams at those levels, right? We've got 3 8th grade boys teams. We'll have 1 varsity team and 2 balanced JV teams. The varsity team is play to win. This is where our coaches, we've given them the task of showing the players, challenging the players, how to be a good team, what is necessary to win. We're teaching them how to win, while at the same time, every day in practice, we're working on their skills. Individual skill level, and then team concepts, offensive and defensive team concepts. The JV teams will be balanced, and it will be equal playing time with the 8th grade JV level, equal playing time. I was just mentioning the coaches, especially with those 8th graders. I watched a lot of their games last year when they were in the 7th grade. Those kids are passionate about playing. They are so serious. And we meet them at that level. Just, there's a stigma perhaps because it's JV. Those kids are more serious than a lot of the other so-called varsity players, and they are determined to win. They're determined to play hard, and we match that. We try to meet all the players at their level and then raise them up. The 8th grade girls, we have only 1 team, 10 participants. They will be entered in the so-called Lakefront division, the CCYL, which is the varsity division, so it's the competitive division, and it will be play to win. 7th grade, we will have 2 teams, right, Coach? Yeah, and there will be a varsity team and a JV team, where the same rules will apply, same philosophies will apply. So, about game schedules. 4th through 6th play 10 games in a season, right? 4th graders do not have a playoff. 5th and 6th have a single elimination playoff. The single elimination playoff will begin the 10th of February. So typically, we play 4th through 6th on Saturdays. 4th and 5th graders, our home gym is at OSP, Old St. Pat's. We'll play our home games Saturday morning over at Old St. Pat's. 6th graders will play here, preparing for the transition to 7th and 8th. That helps us out in terms of space and time management as well, but it also kind of like a structure that moves us towards the higher level of 7th and 8th. 7th and 8th grade schedules, they have 14 games. 14 games during the regular season, then of course the single elimination playoff that will begin about the 10th of February. The 8th grade boys will play three additional tournaments. The girls will play in one. The reason for that is simply because everywhere else in the state of Illinois, girls basketball season is in the fall. CCYL's in the winter. IESA sponsors girls basketball, middle school girls basketball in the fall when we're playing volleyball. So there are fewer tournaments available for our girls. So schedule changes. Inevitably, we have requests for schedule changes. Sometimes they're school events, sometimes they're non-school events. These are very, very difficult to make happen, okay? A good example is, I think we have a request, it's put through the league at this level. It was 8th graders for December 16th. In order for one school to get that request, 8 other schools have to change their schedule. It rarely happens. Rarely happens. We try to do the best we can on our side to advocate for our FXW needs. They're not usually granted, to tell you the truth. So, but we try. We advocate for that, and the sooner the better, but even when we give our dates in August, they're not usually accepted. It's just a reality, so I think I should be candid about it. What's great is that all the schedules, 4th through 8th, boys and girls basketball, are on the CCYL website. A great addition to the program, even if it's been a struggle in the fall, it's really a heavy lift. We have introduced Team Sideline. Our Team Sideline will be synced with the CCYL, so anything that you need in terms of game schedules, of course you'll have Jimmy can probably talk more about this and better than I can. You will have the opportunity to download the app, the Team Sideline app, and have everything right there on your phone. And if a change does occur, you'll be notified. As long as you sign up for the notifications, as long as you sign up for the text messaging service that's a part of the app, you will get instant notification. So that's a great addition. Okay, real quickly, I'm going to introduce a couple of coaches. We've got nearly 30 coaches, so we won't single them all out. I do want to introduce our coaching coordinator, Roosevelt Green. We have some of his former players in the audience too. I was coaching, I was a varsity assistant at St. Lawrence High School, and this little 5'6", 5'7" player, 110 pounds, was scoring, well, he was scoring. Too many points against us. He's also like this tall and really skinny. And we had really good size at the time. Our 6'11" center who eventually played at Northern and then Sacramento State or whatever, he missed a putback. Rebound comes off. Roosevelt's at the three-point line. He goes down, bang. That ball ends up in the stands. He was a sophomore. So dropping down and putting that ball in the stands, scoring 26, 28 points, I kept him on my radar. And when he was done with his All-American career at St. Xavier University, I asked him to coach with me at St. Xavier. At St. Lawrence. So through that connection, Roosevelt and I have been kind of together for a long time. Another one that you guys will probably see a lot of, or your kids will, is Eric Vigansky right here. Eric will handle a lot of our training and game plan developing, our practice plan developing. He'll be in, 4, maybe 5 days a week. I mentioned that he'll be spearheading our evaluation period. We'll have a lot of that digitized and filmed. So Eric, he played professionally overseas and he coached professionally overseas. We're lucky to have these guys kind of spearheading our coaching staff. We've got a lot of players that are just beginning their coaching careers after really playing some important schools at a high level in college. Some are just returning from overseas basketball. We have some returning coaches too. So I'm really confident about the high quality coaching that these guys will be able to provide your players. So this is a perfect time to invite you anytime into the gym. We have an open door policy. You can come in and observe, as long as you don't distract your player or any other players, but you can observe what we're doing in the gym. We love high intensity, high pace practices. And you can come in and watch them anytime, but let me know, okay? So thank you. Coaches, do you mind standing up, giving a wave? Thank you. You might have gotten some communications from Sandy.
Yes.
Yeah. She'll talk to you about the Ambassador Parent Program.
Well, I'm not going to walk around. I don't know if I won't do that to you. But thanks for being here today. I'm honored to be a part of this program. Alongside Tim and my FXW ambassadors, which includes Lorenzo, Ashley, Mercedes, and Brad. And I gotta say, Tim, when you approached me about this and your vision for this athletic program, I was excited. And I was moved by your commitment, truly, to creating a strong, positive athletic culture here. This group, we started meeting in August. And from the very beginning, it was clear that we all had something unique to contribute. Some of us have a very high sports intensity family, but some of us don't. And so there's a really good diversity of thought and discussion that's already been proven to be valuable. And as we're trying to shape this program, all of you are important to be a part of that. Communication is important. And we recognize that. We recognize that all of you have a part in this, and that communication going out and working with Jimmy so far this year has proven that this is going to be a part of our program, and that's what the ambassadors are here for. So please contact us. The ambassadors' email address is listed above. Reach out to us directly. For those of you who have called, texted, emailed, thank you. We're just kicking off, and we have a whole year ahead of us. So, do I just move it? Oh, perfect. So what is the Ambassador Program? Raise your hand if you've been to a FXW basketball game. So you probably noticed some things. When you walk into a school, there's certain schools that really are promoting and welcoming you, right? There's parents at the concession stands, they're taking pictures, they're talking to your players and saying good luck, or your kids and saying, hey, good luck today, That's something that's really, really important for us as an ambassadors crew to infuse in all of you to help create that pride for our school and building that culture of positive sportsmanship. I am going to say that in the past, FXW is well known for being a very competitive school and having a really strong athletics program. But as the saying goes, with great power comes great responsibility. So our mission this year is to encourage our parents, our players, to go the extra mile. Whether we win or lose, it's no secret that sportsmanship and our reputation have to get stronger. And that's gonna start with all of us. It's not just Tim's job to help, or our FXWs or our coaches to be the only ones infusing that. It comes from all of us. And having worked in HR for a really, really long time, I can attest that kindness is a powerful tool. So it's not about the wins always, but it is, right? No matter what the outcome of a game is, we, whether we're taunted or even when we're winning, demonstrating kindness is only going to benefit our kids and also support other children. You don't know what another child's going through. You don't know what their parents might be doing or the pressure that they might be feeling. So saying, good job to them, or saying, hey coach, great work. It's not easy to be in those shoes. So as parents here today, and as a part of our ambassadors team, we are dedicated, and of course our parent volunteers, it's our responsibility to shape the culture and reputation we desire. So we ask each of you to introduce yourself in the future to opposing teams, shake the hands of the players, coaches, and just go above and beyond in representing FXW in the most positive way. While Tim and the entire FXW faculty are trying to accommodate game changes, schedules, emails, I truly hope that you all also contribute to creating a positive experience. So, Team Parent Volunteers, fairly new program. Again, we're evolving, this program's new. And while when Tim, we talked about the vision around this and wanting parent volunteers, infusing parents back into our community to feel more connected and involved, 2 years ago I had the privilege of being a volunteer. And I could say without a doubt, it was one of the most rewarding experiences. Not only did I get to contribute with helping the kids, I also had the opportunity to be a point contact for parents. And I also witnessed firsthand how difficult it is to coordinate with the CCYL and how much goes into that. So the Parent Volunteer is a pivotal program, and how we see it is that they're the bridge builders and they're the communicators, they're handling game changes, bringing new ideas on how to communicate with parents effectively. I mean, life happens to all of us, right? It's gonna happen to our coaches, it's gonna happen to our players. But it's kind of our job to build that community of culture, and of course, it is all about having fun. So before I turn it over to Tim to go through what the parent volunteer role really is, having a 7th grader and a 3rd grader, I think overall our entire ambassador committee just wants to create something that can be a long-standing evolution of having a really strong parent-infused community. And really excited to work with you all. Please reach out. Tim, I'll hand it over to you. Thank you.
So yeah, I'm going to keep this short. The parent volunteer, we're hoping, and I think Sandy alludes to it, that we will have a parent volunteer for each basketball team. What that is just a liaison, a go-between for the coaching staff and the families. Just a positive bridge between different stakeholders. I think that's a positive bridge towards between the stakeholders. I think once you have experience coaching youth basketball and you take a step back, one of the things that we need a lot more, and I'm not just talking about FXW, but generally for middle school or youth sports, a lot more positive interaction with all the stakeholders, the opposing teams, the opposing coaches, the refs, the officials at the gym. So that's kind of like what your role will be, spearheading that. I want to bring up Sarah Jane real quick. This is nuts and bolts stuff. I know if you look at the practice schedule, might be many times that your player will be in study hall, athletic study hall. Sarah Jane is going to give us a quick rundown of those kinds of expectations. Thank you.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Sarah Jane Fine. I'm the site coordinator at HNC for after-school programming. Like Tim said, I'm just going to give some expectations for when your kid doesn't have practice immediately after dismissal. So there's a couple of options if your kid needs to wait for practice. The first one is that they leave the building. The second option is that they come to study hall. If they are leaving the building, that means that a parent or guardian or other approved person has come to pick them up at dismissal time at 3:15, or if they're in 6th through 8th grade and they're registered for self-dismiss, they can leave on their own and come back 5 minutes before either their bus or their practice occurs. If they are coming to athletic study hall, and they are on the self-dismiss list, even if they are on that list and they want to leave, once they check into athletic study hall, they need to stay there. So last year we had some kids that would come in and then leave when they were ready to self-dismiss. We're not doing that now. We are going to they come, they check in, they stay there until it's time to go up. So if they're self-dismissing, they'll leave from their teacher dismissing them. If they would like to come to study hall, then that means that you just have to register them in Camp Brain. It really helps when we get that registration in, and then they can come and they can work on homework. If you're concerned that they won't have enough homework to occupy them, they can have a book with them, maybe some drawing supplies, something like that. But it is intended to be a focus room where they can get some work done. And it's very similar with expectations about what Tim was talking about earlier in terms of we want them to be respectful of not only their teammates, but the spaces that they're in, the counselors that they're with, things like that. So we will expect them to be on their best behavior and come ready to focus. In terms of their phones, they will need to keep their phones in their bags. So please don't be texting them when they're in athletic study hall. Just like during the day, they should not be on their phones while they're in a school setting. And then in terms of snacks, they will have a snack option at the start of study hall. If this is not something that they like, or if they're still hungry, you're welcome to pack a snack that they can eat during their time in study hall, but we will not be accepting any deliveries, including parents dropping off food. They would need to have that food in their bag at the start of the day so that people don't need to be leaving the room to go and get food from downstairs. So we're all just going to work together to make sure that they're having a safe, focused environment where they can get some work done. They can continue to learn about behavior and being part of a team. And that's what we expect from them, and we hope that you are able to support in that effort. Thank you for your time.
Hey, it's a really long day for our kids. They're in school, and then after school they have to go to athletic study hall maybe. So I know it's a big ask of middle schoolers, but it's also something that they can start preparing themselves for. They have to get their work done, because they're going to be some kids, especially the 7th and 8th graders, are going to be in the gym until 7. When are they going to have dinner? When are they going to get their work done? You want it at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night? It's beginning to teach them good work habits, time management. It's a helpful tool. Thank you, Sarah Jane. I mentioned before that I coached at St. Lawrence High School on the southwest side, proud member of the Chicago Catholic League. One of my players is a senior when Roe was a sophomore. And you know how you always say, most likely to be? Well, John McGinty was obviously the most likely to be a coach. After college, he returned to St. Lawrence. He coached on the staff at St. Lawrence. And then from there, he went to Lewis. From Lewis to Northern Illinois University, and then he got his year at Loyola. But before that, John had a head coaching job out in Ohio. And he's back now. He's the head women's coach at St. Francis, University of St. Francis. He's the most likely to become a coach, and he's been very successful at it at every level. Coach, here he is, Coach John McGee. Now, Coach, he's at the University of St. Francis. He just wrapped up his practice at 5:30, and I'm sure that he drove really respectfully of the rules of the road, but he made it all the way from Joliet, so an extra thank you to Coach.
Well, I appreciate that, Coach Forberg. And anybody who says, as a player, you know that they're going to be a coach, you know they weren't a very good player. So for those who may have known me or see me now, this does not look like a basketball player. But very excited to be in front of you guys today. In any way I can help in regards to what you're looking for. I think, in youth basketball, I think it's really, really important, one, to embrace and enjoy and have fun in every aspect of basketball. I think that's huge. I think the second piece is teaching skills of the game. I think then the third piece is understanding the tactical piece of that. I think the more that you get to understand the principles offensively and defensively in youth basketball or middle school basketball or junior high, the easier it will be to transition to the next level. And I think the last piece for me, as I've been able to be at the high school level, is you got to have a balance. You got to balance other sports, you got to balance other activities, balance family time, and I think the people that are most happy, healthy, and improve their game and stay within basketball the most are the people that do have that balance. And so I look forward to helping and answering anything I can, but I appreciate you guys having me, and Coach Forberg especially.
Thanks, Coach. We have another guest, and I think some of you might know something about basketball, or at least Chicagoland basketball, college basketball, and other things. In a lot of ways, this guy is and has always been like a star of basketball. I had the great fortune after St. Lawrence going to DePaul College Prep, where I taught and coached. You talk about stepping up. I said that we were at St. Lawrence, a proud member of the Chicago Catholic League, and then I went to DePaul Prep. And I saw what it is to develop a program that I think is the #1 in the state now, headed by the #1 coach in the state. Of course, he just won a championship last year. When we were together in 2019, we went downstate. We ended up winning the 3rd place trophy. Sustained success. That's what Coach Kleinstran's all about. Thank you, Coach.
Thanks, Tim. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me here tonight at FXW. I have great families that I've met over the years while my time at DePaul. Students who've played for me and those who've been just students in the school, not just, but students in the school. They're fantastic families and fantastic players, and they've changed my life. I've learned more from them than they've learned from me. So not only the kids at FXW, but the kids I coach. So I'm very humble and appreciative of that. Appreciate Tim having me come out today. Got great alumni that I had the ability to coach in Lance Mosley, Cam Lewis, Miles Stewart, all doing very successful in the classroom and on the court. And I'm very appreciative that they chose to come to DePaul and, help us become successful. Tim asked me to come talk a little bit about program and building a program on the high school level. I'll be brief and just listen to your questions, but I would say develop skills, kind of like the stock market, invest early, compound interest, do it often, you'll get your gains later. You're not going to get it right away. You see a kid running the gym, he grabs the ball, he goes to the 3-point line, and let's make a 5-footer, let's make 4 out of 5 and back up a foot, and then back up a foot, and back up a foot. two-hand dribbling, make it hard for them. So just develop skills, I would say, and then graduate and continue to stack those skills as they develop from 4th to 5th to 6th grade. Believe me, it works. You're talking to a slow, fat white guy who got the opportunity to play 12 years professionally, so it does work. I can count my dunks on one hand, and it was from my park instructor at Chibona Park and Garfield Park on the west side. Taught me jump stops, pivots, shot fakes, and jab steps, and that got me a long way. If it happened to me, it can happen to your child. So continue skill development, and don't go too fast for them. That's what I would say off the top of my head, Tim. Thanks.
Thank you. Guys, I'm going to sit down with Coach Kleinschmidt and Coach McGinty. I am not a podcaster, but I do remember David Letterman, so I do have my cue cards here. And it's really just a discussion about like pretty much what their introductory comments were, you know. Right now, your players are anywhere between 4th and 8th grade. So we're brought in Coach McGinty and Coach Kleinschmidt, kind of take a wider view, greater perspective. What should we be doing here that will help your player transition to the next level? And the next level, let's understand, 4th grade is, the next level is 5th grade. 5th grade is 6th grade. Our coaches right here, our FXW coaches, they know that in order for us to be successful at the next level, a 4th grader needs to learn specific skills. So let's open this up a little bit. I'm going to open this up for the coaches. If you think about it, which Coach Kleinschmidt already mentioned, like that jump stop, jab step, you know, it seems small things, but what other fundamental skills do you think are most important for our players to work on?
Yeah, I think, starting with footwork, it's funny, we're in practice 20 here. We start 1 week from tomorrow, our first game. And we work with our college girls on 3 different stops all the time: the jump stop, the pro stop, and the stride stop. I think the ability to shoot the basketball, and Coach Kleinschmidt talked about it, right? Where your range and within rhythm that you can figure out to be most consistent with the fundamentals of that. But the ability to shoot the basketball is never going to go away. And the more you learn on the fundamentals of knocking down shots, you'll have a place in just about every spot. I think the communication piece, I think even at the highest level, as I, been able to be at some practices and things like that, you've got to be able to communicate. And I think talking and being a great teammate is a simple thing that people don't think is a skill. But along with footwork, shooting, I think communication piece of being able to talk through things is super important. Even at the younger you start, the better.
Hello? Yep. Just to piggyback on Coach, dribbling, passing, and shooting, playing off 2 feet. We play off 2 feet at the ball. We shoot a ton of free throws. We shoot more free throws than our opponents attempt. So if you think about that, and that's for playing off 2 feet, you'll see on, everybody, I'm a victim number 2, we want to watch Duke, or we want to watch Steph, or all these guys, and they're playing off 1 feet, and they're dunking on 3 or 4 guys. I don't have anybody that can do that. I wish I did, but if they play off 2 feet, we really teach that. You'd be shocked how nobody can make a post-entry pass. I know all the 6'7" guys are now guards and things, but can't make a post-entry pass. I got the 6'9" guy in the box, and we can't get it to him, and it just drives me nuts. So just passing, dribbling, and mastering those skills, it can really benefit your kids. And as they get stronger, bigger, stronger, faster, they're just going to evolve into some really good players. As far as our program goes with teammates and cultures, our culture, I think we have a very strong culture. We have really good players. I feel very confident saying that. We always didn't, but we won on culture. Guys play for each other. We have a saying that you don't have to like your role, but you have to accept your role. And it's hard for a 15-year-old to hear sometimes when he's been the best player in 5th grade, 6th grade, and 7th grade. But if you can get him to buy in, and I don't know if she's sitting in the crowd here, but her son did it, a guy by the name of Miles Stewart. He was a senior, he was a heck of a player, but honestly, he'll be the first one to tell you, he was our 7th, 8th man. Sometimes he played 7, 8 minutes, sometimes he didn't play for 3 games. But he was our captain, he was our leader, and he accepted our role. And it got him to Vassar College. It's one of the best academic schools in the country, and he's playing basketball. So you don't have to like the role, but you got to accept it. But it's hard to get across if you don't have a strong culture.
Thanks, Coach. Coach McGinty mentioned the ability to shoot. I wanted to, I never forget that Coach Kleinschmidt, when you were downstate at U of I, Final Four, 37 points, right? I remember. So let's stay on that kind of like the two coaches. If you could talk about someone leaves our school and you were talking about open gym that's starting up on Saturday. You have a few open gyms before November, tryouts for freshmen, right? Coach McGinty coached at St. Lawrence before all of his college coaching gigs. Could you guys just tell us, a few of the most important things that you want from a freshman player when you're evaluating for tryouts?
Yeah, I think thinking back to the freshmen, and again, now Coach Forber brought it up, we only have one level, so our freshmen, what they do here at the college level is, when I think about those who impact winning for us, they are people who have a high motor, right? They play really, really hard. There's got to be a skill set to that, but within their motor, and then they're also pretty high IQ or coachable in the fact that they understand and can apply the principles we're teaching the quickest. And we don't usually need freshmen to be dominant impact players for us, but the ones that want to contribute to winning may not always be the most talented, but they're going to be higher IQ, they're going to be coachable, and have a high motor. In evaluations, we want, of course, to be able to shoot it, I talked about it, drive it, and move it. And just understanding the concepts of spacing in basketball, I think are a few good things for our freshmen to have.
Yeah, Coach hit it on the head with all the things he said. That's what we're looking for. But what I'd like to evaluate is toughness. I'm not talking about getting in a fight with anybody or anything ridiculous, but toughness. Does he dive on the floor for a loose ball? Is he a first in line when we run sprints at the end of practice? Is he first? That can't measure anybody's heart, but I can tell a lot by the kid by, if he's diving on the floor, if he's picking his teammate off the floor. Body language screams if something goes bad for him, and he's pouting, shaking his head, looking in the crowd, walking back. Probably not a kid that's going to fit in our culture. So those are things I look at, and then obviously we're looking for skill level. But I got a great coaching staff. I can win with 5 tough kids who play for each other. We might not win a state championship or anything, but we're going to have more wins than losses, and it's going to be more enjoyable for everybody.
What we're talking about, the coaches are talking about it, really important. They're talking about those things that, kind of like a standard for culture, standard for how to be on a team. These are the standards. We just wrapped up a coaches meeting before we started this. And this is some of the things that we were talking about as a coaching staff. The ability to play hard, to be focused, to play for one another, right? And our job, I feel at our level, is really focusing on the skill development. So when they do leave here, they can finish with both hands. They can handle the ball with both hands. They can be strong with the ball. It's a major accomplishment. I was telling the coaches that 4 through 6, by the 6th grade, our kids can catch the ball in triple threat, rip through, jab step, attack the seam with a nice, strong, hard dribble, right? Seems simple, but it's not. It takes years. It takes time. It takes determination. So we will focus on those skills, and that's how we'll judge whether we're successful or not. Not the scoreboard, not the standings, but we want your player to be a good, fundamentally sound basketball player. And then if he has all these intangibles that the coaches are talking about, he's going to find success, not just in basketball, but in the classroom and in life. That's the kind of stuff that we want to promote. So moving this along, I'm going to ask these guys, I'm going to put them on the spot. Who was the best coach you ever had, and what made that coach so effective for you?
Yeah, when I think about coaching and coaches that I've had that have impacted kind of my experience and how I do things, I think one, my favorite coach, the coach that impacted me, one, you could tell they had a passion for what they were doing. Their goal was to help me and my teammates reach our individual and team goals and understand whatever that goal was, whether that was to go on to the next level, whether it was the sophomore team, the varsity team, the college level, or to win a state championship. I think when a coach really supports and understands what your goals are and help you achieve them, that's somebody that, when I think of my coach that impacted me the most, that's something that they did. I think the other piece is they told you the truth and they pushed you to be your best. And I think sometimes, my dad may tell me the truth. My mom, to this day, I still have never made a mistake in her eyes. And maybe some, it's vice versa. But at the end of the day, a coach still wants the best for you, but they're maybe removed a little bit, that they're going to push you to be your best. And looking back, I may have not liked it then, but years down the road, as life hits and different things come up, you remember some of those situations that the game of basketball taught me. And so those are some of the things that I think, the coach that impacted me the most taught me.
It's going to sound like I'm stealing coach's material here, but he's right on. I didn't know it was happening at the time, just what Coach said. I'm teaching the same things my coaches taught me. I'll even use the same phrase, and it's like, whoa, that's Coach Pappas, or that's Coach Kendall, or that's Coach Meyer, or that's Jack Hunter from Garfield Park in 4th grade doing the jump stop. Stay on balance, shoulders behind your toes. Just all these phrases that I use now I got from my coaches. So motivation. I wasn't the easiest guy to coach probably in high school, admittedly. And Coach Pappas told me I was wrong. I got benched. All the things that I hated at the time, and a lot of it made me the person, the player I was. So just the guys that, like I said, told me no, and pushed me and motivated me were my best coaches. And those guys, Coach Meyer, Coach Hunter, Coach Pappas was my high school coach, God rest his soul. And then obviously I can't go without saying my father. He's a high school official, did all the state tournaments down at fell in love. My first idols were Jordan Bird, Magic, they're Ben Wilson, LaFonso Ellis, Melvin McCants, Steve Barlow, and those guys downstate. And that's from him reffing and me following. Mark McGuire at Westinghouse picked me up at 2:15 on Austin and North Avenue. We go to 3:15 game, Westinghouse on the 3rd floor, and I'm watching Mark McGuire play as a 4th grader. It was awesome. So those are the memories I'll have for the rest of my life. That's my father.
Thanks, Coach. Last question, then we'll open it up for the parents in the audience. Maybe some of the coaches want to ask questions too. What's the one thing you wish you knew when you were playing middle school, right? So not your college career, not your high school career. If you could tell your middle school self, hey, do this and work on this. And this is where you want to put your time. Coach mentioned something about investing early, right? And paying dividends later. What along those lines, Coach? What are you going to tell yourself then?
I would work on my weaknesses more than my strengths. Everybody, when they get in the gym, they want to go shoot. Everybody loves to shoot. Nobody likes to dribble the ball. Or a lot of guys don't like to dribble the ball. Or 2-hand dribbling, or working on your left, or going left. So I would tell my younger self to work on my weaknesses more than my strengths, and continue to work on your strengths, but your weaknesses. Great coach, Coach Harrington, coached at Weber High School. I'm a right-handed player. He told me to open the door with my left hand for my mom, turn on the TV with my left hand, eat a bowl of cereal with my left hand, and all those things stuck with me. And I became a strong left-hand player. Not real strong, it still made me go left. But those things that I remember those coaches telling me, just working on my weaknesses more than my strengths. That's what I tell my younger self.
Yeah, when I think about it, Coach Forber talked about him being able to coach me and me making the joke, which was true, that I wasn't very good. In middle school is really when I hit my peak, right? I wasn't as small as as people continue to grow. And the basketball I always had a ball in my hands. And as Coach Kleinschmidt talked about, being able to handle the ball and make it part of you in your hands where you don't have to worry about where it's going. Ball skills helped me early on in my time to be able to advance because I could just handle it without worrying about getting my teammates involved, all that. And I think the other piece is the love for the game. And I talked about this earlier, right? You have to find a balance. You can't go from school, some people do, but if you're a one sport athlete all the time, you don't ever play it. There's a lot of times and a lot of people that we've probably all seen, friends or other colleagues that fall out of love with the game of basketball. But being in the gym, you have to find fun, you have to enjoy it, and then you got to be committed to it. And then the older you get, you have to put time and work in just as you do in everything else. Those would be the two things for sure.
Thanks, guys. I do want to say, piggyback on what Coach McGinty is saying, that he had this ball skills, but the reason, he's being self-deprecating, right? The reason why I say that he was most likely to coach, because he came down and he could see the floor better than anybody on the floor. And it's really important to have a player that can just see everything, make things happen on the offensive end. So if you have that vision, and those ball skills and the motor skills, everything that we're talking about, you're going to find success. Do we have any questions in the audience? Does anyone have any questions? Tyler, here we go.
Yeah, Coach Tom, this one's for you. You mentioned, kind of accepting, it's something major is accepting your role, right? As an assistant coach, what are some of like the best experiences you've seen in some of your assistant coaches? Maybe like best example of an assistant coach you've had.
I was taught by Jerry Wainwright at DePaul that the job of the assistant coach is to make the head coach of the year. And he was half joking. Make sure, like back then it was bed check, but homework, grade check, eligibility, practice plans in place. We're stretched and ready to go. When the girls are on first, we're ready to go. We're not wasting time. So just having all the things that an assistant coach can control for the head coach, have it done before. So we're just worrying about, our game plan in practice or what we're trying to do to stop the opponent. I would say doing all the dirty work, man. That's how I make it bones. Yeah.
Thanks, Coach. Any other questions? Yes, Devon.
So I was a walk-on at St. Xavier, and the way I earned my stripes was basically competing with guys like Roosevelt, who's an All-American, guys like this guy who's an All-American. Where does competing rank on the level of intangibles for your athletes?
Yeah, I spoke about it earlier with motor and IQ. I think, the ability to win, right? Everybody wants to win. And it becomes more important as you get to the upper levels, at the college level. But even today, as we go into a scrimmage tomorrow, we talked about to our team, all I care about is how we execute what we work on. And if we do that, the results will take care of itself. Within that, though, you have to want to be your best at those principles, those philosophies, those sets, those actions. And so competing in everything we do, whether it's rebounding the basketball, diving on the floor, picking up a teammate, guarding your yard one-on-one, I think all of those aspects separate you in regards to your motor and how you impact winning. Those are the people that get on the floor first, is the people that are more competitive.
Yeah, competitive is really all we do, Coach. We very rarely at the end, we'll go 5-on-5. We'll do a little, we go down, back down. So it's 3 rips at a time. We'll get it twice, the first unit, but the second unit is running all the opponent stuff. We won a state championship, I say that humbly, last year. The MVP of our team was our white team. I gave it to 7 guys on our white team. They had to know 3 different opponents. They had to know at least the top 5 plays, that's 15 plays. They had to know their presses, their slobs and slobs, which are sideline out of bounds, baseline out of bounds. They were responsible for knowing 30 to 40 plays every week for 4 months. And I would talk about adding value to a team. You don't have to like your role. If you accept your role, that white team accepted that role so much and you would hear me and Pratt talk about competing. Man, I was like, man, I'm starting the wrong guys. They're killing me. I'm starting the wrong, and it gave those guys so much confidence and gave them a value to the team. They used to beat the first team in practice all week. And the biggest compliment we get every year from our starters, our practices are harder than the games. And that's the biggest compliment we ever get. And that's from our assistant coaches, preparing them, and our second unit believing in them and believing in the value of the team.
If you want to see, I mentioned that we had a coaches meeting, and we discussed a little bit about like some of our defensive principles, our defensive objectives and goals. If you parents want to know it, watch last year's state championship. That was excellent defensive execution, Coach.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was. And it was like I was watching one of your practices, and you were just doing it to everybody.
I appreciate it. Well, coaches win practices, players win games. That was
Right. Yeah, and they were prepared. It was excellent. Any other questions? Oh, see, here we go.
So what's your advice to parents who have players at the middle school level right now?
My advice, I think the biggest impact, right, you have on your parents have the biggest impact, I should say, on their child. And even at our level, sometimes we write letters to our parents and say that, you know, your actions, your thoughts, how you believe in what we're trying to do. If you believe in it in a positive way, your child or kid is going to be able to read that and they're going to have a positive experience. Vice versa, if they think that you're upset about some things, right? The child or the student athlete is going to be upset about some of that stuff. And so I think that's really important. I think, you know, as I have younger cousins and nephews and nieces, and they talk about parents, they just want them to have fun and learn. And then the first question I hear them to my niece or nephew is, how much did you play, or how many points did you score? And so, you know, I think it's really, really important that what it takes to be successful, being prepared, putting the work in, that's going to result in winning in all facets, school, academics, basketball, whatever that may be. And I think the parents have a huge impact in that.
On the real lower levels, like 4th or 5th grade, I would find out if your son or daughter actually enjoyed playing basketball or a sport they play. I can walk, we have a, you know, 4th through 6th grade camp and stuff, an 8th grade camp, and we have 40 kids there, and I can tell you 10 kids don't want to be there, the mom or dad want them there. So that's the first thing I'll tell you. Maybe it's not their passion, maybe they're drawn, maybe they play the piano. I would trade my basketball skill to play the guitar and piano right now, I'll tell you that. So if you know what their passion is, because sometimes, or let them find their passion through a lot of sports or arts or whatever it is, because we can tell right when we walk in the gym, they don't want to be there. So if you drop them off and they don't want to be there, no one's getting anything out of it. That's the first thing I would say. And then let them have an enjoyable experience the best you can. You're your child's biggest cheerleader. I got a 31-year-old daughter. I love her with all my heart. She can do no wrong. But I'm her biggest cheerleader, but she got to find out. She got to face some adversity. You learn more from losses than you do your wins. You got to face adversity, all the cliches you hear about, but or that coaches say. But I would say they got to fail a little bit at their craft before they're going to grow. And I just, if the adults in the room can capture that, then it's going to work out best for everyone.
Thanks, guys. Any other questions? Do we have any questions out there? All right, I want to thank Coach McGinty and Coach Kleinschmidt for giving up their time. I want to thank all of you for coming out. I appreciate you coming out on a Tuesday night. Next week, it all starts. Fun starts, okay?